First of all, when we talk about throws, the thing I always start off by saying, you've heard this before, but I hate the term throws. Throw is I pick something up and I throw it. I don't pick up Frank and throw him. When you throw someone, you basically set up a fulcrum point and roll them over the fulcrum point. This also means that if you do a technique correctly, I mean, the other thing I hate was when people say like eternal, oh, you don't use any strength, you don't use any muscle. That's all bullshit also. But I don't want to rely on only muscle. I don't want to assume that I'm the stronger person, because if I assume I'm the stronger person, when I fight the person that's stronger than me, I'm screwed. Usually a strong person with no technique will beat a skilled person who is weak. Just a reality. When you have two strong people, then the technique will be the difference. Right? So, and again, depends how strong. But I should be using the correct technique, in other words, the correct angle, the correct leverage, so that I'm not relying on only my muscle. That's what we mean. We don't mean like no muscle. They're not going to go like snap your finger and they're going to fly through the air. But it's not a brute force kind of thing. So, to do a throw, I want to set the fulcrum. Meaning I want to be underneath them and they're going to roll over the fulcrum. For the shoulder throw, the fulcrum is going to be the shoulder. Hip throw would stay obviously, but you know. So if I'm here, right, I want to be low. The lower I am, the easier, because if I'm up here, I got to try to make him go up into the air, right? And then I don't know. I'm not that strong. I don't want to. I'd rather be here. So again, think about the first thing they teach you in Tai Chi, which is to sink your weight, right? Settle in and sink. Sink. We call this Tai Chi stance. It's not really what it's technically called, but it's an easy way for people to relate to what the concept is, which is you bend your knees and drop your weight. But also, if you listen to the Tai Chi classics, it says your head has to be up, your shoulders have to be up, your hips have to be up. Have you heard this before?
Yes.
Right? And I always joke because I say the description of Tai Chi is perfect for any kind of wrestling or clinching, like Thai boxing and everything. But nobody thinks of Tai Chi that way. They always think it's like, I hit you with my finger and the chi kills you or something like that. So, I'm taking him up and over the fulcrum of my shoulder. I'm going to grab him. There's a couple of different ways I can grab him. But obviously, if I just go straight, he's going to go over my head. So as I get him first upwards of my hips, right? So I'm not throwing him. I'm rolling him over my hips. What I have to do is turn, because I don't want him to hit my head. And so when I turn, you okay? Wait. So you see what I'm doing? I'm bending down and then a little bit forward so that he kind of falls over my hips, meaning he's going to fall onto my hips. And then I'm going to turn so he goes over my shoulder. So I come here, boom, I bend and I turn. And again, I'm only throwing him so you can see this. We're not going to throw each other. If you're wrestling, right, you're trying to reach the grab. So we have a thing called separating hands. What does it mean? It means it separates your hand from my body. So if he reaches here, and again, it's that same block, right? What happens is, you realize that in grappling, you're thinking about just keeping me from grabbing you. In striking, you're thinking about keeping me from hooking you. It's the same thing, right? So he comes on this side, I come here. For me, I'm waiting for this hand to come, because when I come here, that's going to give me my shoulder through. Okay? And we don't want to be like this too much. I mean, that's how we think of wrestling, but we want to think more Greco-Roman, which is a little more upright, right? Because if there is striking, the last thing you want to do is this, right? So even if it's grappling, here. So he reaches this hand, I block. He reaches with that hand. And what I'm going to do is, as I step across, this hand's going to come underneath his shoulder. Now the other thing you'll notice though is that when I get in this position, I'm setting him up to be thrown there, not here. This is like north and south, right? And everybody thinks like I either throw you north or I throw you south. But think about the X pattern. mean, like, that would be like northeast, that would be northwest, this would be southeast, this would be southwest. All the good stuff happens this way, not this way, right? So, I'm not going to be shoulder throwing him to the south, I'm going to be shoulder throwing him to the southwest. Does that make sense? So he reaches for me, and like I said, he'll get here, and that's all I need, right? Did you have any doubt that I could throw you from there? No. Right? I mean, if you want to try it this side, you can do that. Most people will find that they're more comfortable turning this way for turning throws. But prove me wrong if you can. I encourage you to do it. So, again, just look at the mirror, show the mirror, so that I'm rolling the blade into his hand. Rolling the blade into his hand. See, so he can't get grip yet. He's trying to grab me, right? Now, if I let him do that, oh shit. But now, of course, I can do this too, right? But right now, we're going to work. Now, what I'm going to do, here, 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 here. Okay. Step, and then we call it a stealing step, as I slide my feet behind me. Notice how my knees are bent, so my hips are lower than his hips. So then I just bend forward. Once he's on my hips, we're done.